Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about Oklahoma Supreme Court dismissing the Tulsa Race Massacre Lawsuit, as well as some information that just came in a few hours ago regarding the lawsuit as well. This is What's the 411 News. Let's go.
Welcome back to What's the 411 News, where we bring you news observation, interpretation, and news commentary from an FBA and BGR perspective. Let's get it.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to What's the 411 News. And we're going to get right into it, man. We're going to talk about this lawsuit that has been dismissed. All right. And again, there's some information that's come in also a few hours ago regarding this. So yeah, we're gonna get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So yeah, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. So the Tulsa Race Massacre, some of you guys know, some of you don't know. So we're gonna let you guys who don't know what's going on, and just be a refresher for those who already know about this. So the Tulsa Race Massacre lawsuit was struck down. So here's what we know right now, all right? Here's what we know. Okay. So Oklahoma Supreme Court dismisses the lawsuit. Advocates hopes to see justice in their lifetime were dashed after the Oklahoma Supreme Court dismissed a lawsuit brought by survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre. The suit sought reparations for the survivors of one of the worst single acts of violence against Black people in American history. The tragic events of 1921. On May 31st, 1921, Dick Rowland, a young Black man, was accused of assaulting a white woman named Sarah Page. An investigation by the 2001 Tulsa Race Riot Commission found that Page likely made no allegations against Rowland. However, an inflammatory article and rampant rumors led to a violent confrontation between armed mobs. All right, devastation and loss to that. The conflict escalated rapidly, leading to white rioters looting and burning 35 city blocks, resulting in the destruction of 1,256 homes and 191 businesses. While official counts at the time recorded 36 deaths, historians believe the actual toll was closer to 300, much, much more. All right. The Red Cross reported that more than 10,000 people were left homeless, marking a grim chapter in American history. The survivors of this legal battle filed in 2020, the lawsuit argued that the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre represented an ongoing public nuisance for survivors Viola Fletcher, Leslie Benningfield Randall, and Hughes Van Ellis Sr. The plaintiffs claim that the massacre's destruction continues to impact Tulsa and that the city has used the Black Wall Street name for marketing without giving back to the community. After the dismissal by Tulsa County District Court Judge Carolyn Wall, survivors appealed to the state's high court. Oklahoma Supreme Court's decision. On Wednesday, the Oklahoma Supreme Court affirmed the dismissal in an 8-1 vote. Vice Chief Justice Dustin P. Rowe stated that while the plaintiffs' grievances are legitimate, now this is what he's saying. While he's saying that their grievances are legitimate, they do not fall within the scope of the state's public nuisance statute. This ruling effectively ends any further attempts by survivors' attorneys to seek reparations through this lawsuit. That's real disrespectful, number one, being how old the remaining survivors of the actual attack are still living. That's real disrespectful. So You know, when we talk about governments, whether it's local, federal, state, what have you, the court systems, they are determined not to give Black Americans anything. Real determined. And again, it's real disrespectful knowing how old these survivors are. And there's no telling how much has been going through in their minds when they sleep. You know, do they dream about this stuff? They have to replay this stuff as they go about their day. It's not, you know, that imprint hasn't disappeared. All right. So that's real disrespectful. Again, let me see. The Greenwood District, Black Wall Street, a legacy. Okay, the Greenwood District, known as Black Wall Street, was one of the most affluent Black communities in the country, thriving on the success of its residents in the oil industry. Today, there is a movement to recognize the district as a national monument. U.S. Senate James Lankford has authored a bill for the national recognition of the site, aiming to preserve and honor its history. Future steps for justice. Despite the setback, the survivors' legal team remains determined. They plan to file a petition for a rehearing by the court and seek an investigation under the 2007 Emmett Till Unsolved Civil Rights Crime Act. Their goal is to address the wrongful acts perpetrated by a white mob against Black residents and to find justice through the court system. All right, so we're going to take a look at these key points here. Okay. Lawsuit dismissed. Again, the Oklahoma Supreme Court dismissed the lawsuit seeking reparations for the Tulsa Race Massacre survivors, those who survived from that massacre that happened. They're still alive. They survived. They're still living today. Historical context: the 1921 massacre saw the destruction of Black Wall Street with significant loss of life and property. Ongoing impact: survivors argue that the massacre's effects continue to impact Tulsa's Black community. All right. In the court decision, the court ruled that the plaintiff's grievances do not meet the state's public nuisance statute requirements. National recognition efforts, movements, and legislative efforts aim to recognize Greenwood's district historical significance. And finally, future legal actions. The survivors' legal team plans to request a rehearing and an investigation under the Emmett Till Act. All right. So we're going to go ahead and pull up some information that came in a few hours ago. All right. I'm going to pull that up real quick and take a look at that. Okay. So let's take a look at this right here. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So, kind of hot off the presses, if you will. So, survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre, there's Viola Fletcher on the left and Hughes Van Ellis on the right. Speaking in Washington, D.C. in June 2023. In May 2024, the Oklahoma Supreme Court dismissed the case about the survivors. So these very young lady and young man in the picture have been totally disrespected on a lot of levels. And so, you know, their legal team is still going to push forward. So in the neighborhood of Greenwood in Tulsa, Oklahoma, also known as Black Wall Street, Black entrepreneurship in the local economy once thrived, but in May 21, an inhumane act demolished the community in the blink of an eye. All right. It was reduced to rubble by white mobs after a wave of racial violence. And estimates say the mobs killed 300 people and injured 800 more. The event went down in history as the Tulsa Race Massacre. Truth seekers understand that as a society built on systemic racism and inequality, we failed to give this event and the survivors the honor and amends they deserve. And this month, the Oklahoma Supreme Court, the highest court in the state, refused to recognize the truth. All right. So we're going to scroll down just a little bit to where do we go from here. And for anyone like me who holds a position of power and wealth, it's vital to take a step back recognize how we got here and learn how to use our fortune for good looking ahead. Support can come in all forms, from providing entrepreneurs or organizations in your local community with funding, connections, mentoring, or other support based on your specific skills like marketing, business strategy, accounting, HR, etc. Or if you aren't sure where to start, take the time to learn about the problems in your community to determine where your efforts can be best allocated. All right. For those in positions of power and privilege, we must acknowledge that historically and still today, we are inherently given the upper hand in jobs. As homeowners and as citizens, the U.S. Just last month, a report from the Labor Department revealed unemployment rates increased for all groups except white Americans. Though with this nonsense here, I'm just looking at it and reading it. Like I said, this just came in. This seems what I'm reading seems like a bunch of BS. You know, they're just trying to cover up and trying to just deflect from what is taking place. All right. And just say, well, the way that read, it looked like it's just like, well, hey, the courts made a decision. Let's leave it alone. But hey, you can do this for your community. It seems another stuff they putting in there like seemed like a bunch of BS. All right. Salute to the legal team for the survivors. All right. That's still going to continue to push forward with that. And yeah, this just seems like, although it might look like a loss and appear to be a loss, it's very disrespectful for sure. It seems like they're trying to send a distinct message. And, you know, again, it seems like what they're trying to do is make sure they put no money in Black Americans' hands, foundational Black Americans' hands. They have a real distinct fear if we get a whole lot of the money, a lot of things are going to change around the United States. And for some reason, they don't want that change to go down. And I mean change for the better. All right. They want to keep the system and how things are flowing the way they've been flowing right now. And that's what it seems to look like. They're trying to push hard with the reparations. You got all these task force in different cities. And to kind of tie that in with this, because they did speak of giving reparations to the remaining survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre, it seems like what they're trying to do is pull another stunt, whereas we weren't going for the HR 40 study. So now they're trying to do this. Okay, we're going to give you a task force and we're going to put people in, and the people they're putting in are not from the soil, if you will, are not from the lineage of foundational Black Americans, can't connect any of their people to those that have been enslaved in the U.S. And so it's like another trick bag where they're just saying, okay, we'll give you a task force. We'll give them a task force. and just kind of drag the process on. All right, that's what it's looking like. So you guys let me know what you think about this, man. This is crazy. And again, hopefully the lawyers will continue to push back on it, and maybe something else will come through, even though they're trying to make it seem like, well, okay, it's said and done, we can't go back. But again, shout out and salute to those attorneys that's going to continue to push forward anyway. All right. So y'all put it in the comments. Let me know what you think about this one, man. We appreciate y'all. This is What's the 411 News, and I'm gone. Peace.
Welcome back to What's the 411 News, where we bring you news observation, interpretation, and news commentary from an FBA and BGR perspective. Let's get it.